Rip City world and everybody else that's a Blazers fan. Well, I guess that is Rip City. I don't know. I am your host, Corey, here on the Rip City Roundtable podcast, and we have friend of the show joining us at our roundtable, Mr. Conor Bergin. Welcome back to the podcast. Have you been like so sad you haven't been on lately and on the show? Is this just
yeah.
terrible?
First of all, thanks for having me. But yeah, a little jealous seeing you run through like your whole gauntlet of guests. I notice I always come on after Adrian though. So when Adrian goes, I start gearing up a little bit.
That is not intentional. That is like, I don't know why that always happens that way. I'm not going to do that anymore. It's always like Adrian, and then I'm like, oh, Conor. There's actually like, I had like 3 or 4 people. I'm like, hey, let's like, and that's just the way it crumbled. So that's, I don't know.
Conor, it's kind of nice. I mean, I've been working with Adrian for a while, so it's nice to kind of back him up.
Sure. Yeah. If you could have a little bit more of an accent, like I think the Australian accent helps the numbers on those shows always seem to be a little bit better than other people's, just because I think Adrian could like read out of, well, I was going to say the phone book. People don't know what that is, but he could read the dictionary and people would be like, oh yeah, keep talking. So, but you have a good accent too, even though it's.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I guess, I'm from Portland, and my dad said that Portlanders have newscaster accents, which is like kind of like a flex, but
sure.
He's just saying that like we don't say anything like technically wrong, which I don't know if that's true, but I like that, and that's also just another way for saying we talk maybe boring. So
maybe, yeah, I've never heard that, and the minute you said that, I'm like, I really don't know what that means, but I guess it has to be a compliment. Newscasters, they talk well, so
yeah, I think so. Fluent,
Yeah. Do you remember? Well, and maybe he's still a anchor there in Portland, but Jeff Gianola, he was like an anchor on Coin 6. I don't know which one, but people thought he was like on the side of like, oh, there's a TriMet bus and there's Jeff Gianola's face, and people thought he looked like my dad. Like we would be somewhere and they'd be like, oh, hi, Mr. Gianola, and then my dad would look and they're like, oh, sorry, and it's like I don't think they look alike, but. That was like the newscaster I knew about in Portland just because people thought he looked like my dad.
That's funny, yeah.
Shout out to Jeff Gianola. Maybe Jeff can come on the Rip City Roundtable podcast and we can talk.
Yeah, that'd be a big get.
Yeah, that'd be a big get. Maybe. Oh, anyway, we'll call Jeff. Well, Conor, not a lot going on right now in the world of the NBA and the Blazers. It's August 1st as this recording right now. Summer League has wrapped up. The Olympics are going on, which is good. That's some good basketball content. Sadly, not a lot of Blazers are playing this summer, so that's kind of a downer. So, but we'll get your thoughts on some of that. But first, let's recap some Summer League. I know this happened a few weeks back. Summer League, at least for us Blazers fans, these past few summers has been entertaining because sadly, Conor, as you know, we've had high draft picks, and so Summer League naturally draws our attention. What were your thoughts of Summer League as a whole for the Blazers, and then specifically for the starting center from the UConn Huskies, Donovan Clayton?
Yeah, Summer League was a lot of fun this year. My first year working at Blazers Edge was when we had, it was 2021 or 2020, where we had the Summer League team that was literally, we didn't have a first-round draft pick, and it was just like a whole lineup of veterans who were trying to make it back into the league. So we had like Michael Beasley and like Kenneth Faried. And that was actually the first game recap I ever wrote for Blazers Edge. And it just was like the most boring basketball. Like nobody was going to make the roster really.
Crazy.
Yeah, Manimal was fine though.
Manimal. But, oh my gosh. Yeah.
But and then the next few years, Sharp got hurt in the first few minutes, and then Scoot got hurt at the first half. So this was the first year that I really, where I was really paying attention to Summer League, where we had a high lottery pick and got to watch them the whole way through. And it just made the experience so much more fun.
Oh, that's good. I'll tell you a quick story about the Sharp debut. My wife doesn't watch. I mean, she watches the NBA and just the Blazers because I force her to. But she just is like, hey, what are we watching? So we're on vacation. We're in Colorado, and we're watching the first game of Summer League, Sharp's debut, and he hits that like turnaround jumper on the baseline, and it was just so sweet just right through the net. Looked so good. It looked like Kobe. Like it was just like the turnaround jumper, and I was like,
I
oh
remember that shot. It
yeah,
was like
it was
it felt amazing to
it,
watch.
it was so pretty. And then he gets hurt like 2 minutes later, and it was like his only bucket. And my wife was like, "Not so sharp, is he?" And I was like, "That's the worst joke." Like I
Yeah, that's
maybe will
insult
do.
to injury.
It was awful. So I remember anyway. I was my only anecdote from that because you said sharp that summer league. But yeah, so this summer league was entertaining. What was the most entertaining aspect for you?
I mean, definitely just clinging.
Yeah.
I felt a little selfish. I kept wanting him. Like a part of me was thinking they should hold him out the last few games, and I just wanted to keep watching him play. And I was happy that they didn't have him play in that like consolation game, but they had him play.
Yeah.
I think the first 4 games. So we got to see a lot of him, and just every time he was out there, he got better. And just like you could feel his like gravity on the court, where anytime that he was out of the game, you felt it, and anytime he was on the court, he was the best player. Of course, it was like his defense, just getting all those blocks, but also keeping people out of the. He just controlled the paint, and then even on offense, he had some playmaking abilities. The three is coming around, but definitely needs some
Yeah.
time. But
Yeah.
like as far as how you were hoping things to go
Yeah.
for his first 4 games in summer league, like I think it went as good as you possibly could hope.
Yeah.
Like you almost had to temper your expectations a little bit because it's been a while since we've had something really good happen. And don't get me wrong, like Klingon was awesome, but a little bit of me had to like pause and be like, okay, it's just summer league. Like I was reading all the message boards talking about how good he was, and like I believe he is going to be good, but it's only been 4 summer league games, so
Yes. Not a huge sample
still got to
size.
wait a little bit.
Yes, we do. I was glad he played in the 4th summer league game because I did that recap, and I would have been really sad if he hadn't played because I wouldn't have been that excited to watch. So I was glad
Yeah,
he came
I
out.
wrote the fifth. I wrote the fifth recap, and
Oh,
that was the one he didn't play. So that was rough. And they didn't even really play Jackie. I think you pronounce it Quay. They didn't
yeah,
even really play. They didn't play him in that game either.
I
So that
know.
was like my 2 main guys I wanted to see.
Yeah,
They didn't play him.
that made no sense to me. I know that was like the hope, and in that 4th game against the Hornets, that we had to have so much go right to like be in the quote unquote like playoffs, of summer league. And not that it matters, right? It's a summer league title, but at least we probably would have seen Klingon again if we had been like in contention for a summer league because it's like it's
Yeah,
still
for sure.
something to play for. And Jackie was fun to watch too. I mean, just they could have given him a lot more run, I think, and freedom to shoot and do all those things. But
Yeah, I was a little confused why they weren't really playing him. I mean, I know like Chris Murray and Justin Minaya and Ryan Repair like
yeah,
definitely will get most of those minutes, and now Bryce McGowan's. But like
mm-hmm.
I thought, in summer league, it being summer league, they could find a little bit of extra minutes for anybody really,
Yeah,
even if there is like positional overlap. So I didn't really. Some people were like saying like, oh, maybe they want to hide him from other teams, but he was already signed to an Exhibit 10 contract. So like that, I
mm-hmm.
guess that was my theory for a little bit, and then I learned that, and that actually doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
So
that
they
would
just weren't really playing him. So
they just weren't playing him. Well, I
mhm.
mean, Connor, like, tell me I'm wrong here, but Hand Fruit Nation is gonna go wild over Jackie, right?
Oh my, yes, yeah, they have his G League rights, so it seems like
Oh,
that's the plan is just to give him a bunch of run
yeah,
with the G League team, and yeah, he'll be a fan favorite. He's already a fan favorite, and he played 8 minutes of summer league, so
yeah.
I can imagine.
I,
Yeah, they're gonna go crazy for that.
you know, Rip City Remix. I think you need to sponsor the podcast here because the plug I'm about to give is everyone should buy season passes to the Rip City to Remix. It's going to be entertaining basketball. It might be more entertaining than the main team. like I think it's going to be pretty determined what we're doing for the Trailblazers. But the Remix, man, gun for a G League title. And we could really send some guys down and make this sucker happen. And so,
Oh, and I think Rupert's going to be there this year a lot,
oh,
and
yeah,
he was pretty divisive. At least I read the Blazers Edge comment section a lot.
Oh, dude,
And
you're
I,
in.
I, I get the pulse of
Why
the
do you do
website.
that? Oh, you get the pulse.
Yeah,
I
it's good
can't do
because
it.
I used to read it before I joined, and it's been hard to break the habit. And
Yeah.
so sometimes now it's a little more hurtful to read it than it was before because they might be mentioning something about
Let's.
myself. But
Yeah.
but I
Yeah.
still really enjoy reading the comments, and Rupert was really divisive on the board during summer league. Some people were like, he's got no hope, like already, and then other people were like saying, like, what are you talking about? He's only 20. I was more in the more positive side of that argument. Like, I don't know what you thought, but I liked what Rupert did in summer league. He wasn't perfect for sure, but
Mm-mm.
the flashes he showed with some of his like drives, the shot still looks pretty smooth
Yep.
and has come a long way. It seems like since last season, and even he was doing some playmaking a little bit
Yep.
towards the end, and they
Yep.
were forcing him to kind of develop into that role. And just with his length, he can really just get to the rim. I thought,
Yep.
and like for a 20-year-old who was a second round pick last year and last summer league he looked like absolutely not ready. I
Yeah.
think he's doing fine.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to see what another year does for him. Like I think if I had to compare him and Chris Murray at the moment, like I understand the fears about Chris Murray a lot more because Chris Murray's came out of college after his junior year. He's a lot older.
Yeah.
Um, and his shot is just continues, at least in summer league and last season, like he just continues to not be consistent with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, so where I see Rupert has a lot of room to grow, and I can see the tools. Chris Murray seems like a lot more of a question mark right now.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, I think they, when I say they, the coaching staff, front office, I think went into summer league pretty determined to say, okay, Chris, you're going to take the most shots. We're going to really run our offense through you. And Chris just isn't. Well, he's just not either that type of player, or he just wasn't. He got nervous under the spotlight of that. I don't know, but I think it's more like that's not him. That's not his game. And Rupert in the same way is like he's not initiating offense. He's not a point forward like Ryan
Yeah,
is.
they feed off each other players to
Mm-hmm.
create them shots, and they're
Yep.
more role players. And
Yeah.
yeah, I think Chris Murray is like a guy who tends to play better with when the competition around him is better, at least on his team, like with
Mm-hmm.
better teammates and stuff, like you said, because he's not, super into creating his own shot. He does a lot of like the little things and
Yeah.
like the role player work. It's honestly like when I'm at 24 Hour Fitness, I can't be the lead guy.
No.
Like I need to have
You're not
maybe one or two like
You're not like LeBron
primary
out there.
ball handlers, and
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna do
You fill in.
spot up on the perimeter. I can play.
Yeah.
I think very well with
Yeah.
my shot,
Yeah.
but if I'm supposed to create my shot all the way, then I will have 0 points.
Sure. I mean, so you'd be good on like the Olympic team right now because they don't need another star, right? They need like the Connor role player that just in the corner hit the open three. Like that's where
Yeah,
you would
yeah.
shine.
This is gonna sound terrible because I'm gonna say Derek White because my game's not like Derek White at all. But Derek White's getting more minutes than Jason Tatum
Yeah,
because he completes
he does.
the team better. He
He does.
complements everybody else better.
Well, and that's the beautiful part about basketball, right? It's like you get credit for actually building a team. Now, some people would say, well, you could have one really good player and carry a team, which is true too. But like, you really just can't throw like 5 all NBA MVPs together and just steamroll these teams anymore. It has a complement. You gotta strengths and weaknesses, Connor. It's all about strengths and weaknesses.
No, for sure.
So,
But
yeah,
back to Chris Murray, it was disappointing, and I think he can still be a good player. I'm not saying like his career's done, but
yeah,
he was a guy you were looking at that you were hoping that maybe he'd be done after a game or two,
yeah.
and he didn't play well enough to get that treatment.
The Blazers would have done well. It would have been better for them and like the organization and the team if they had brought in a point guard that was maybe like veteran-ish to the summer league roster to be like, look, your job here is to get Murray set up and Ryan set up and run a pick
and Klingon
and
an entry pass.
Oh, just a simple bounce, like fake it and then bounce pass. What are we doing? Like, or throw it to the man. He's huge. Throw it up to his time. And like a pick and roll with Klingon and then throw the alley oop up. Like, we should have done that. I'm blanking on even who the point guard was, even of the fourth game that I recapped. And that's I want to say
Kennedy Chandler, I think was his name.
Chandler?
Which in the game I did, he popped off.
He did,
but it was through score,ing. It wasn't really passing.
Through passing. So, Rip City Remix. I don't know who the general manager is. I don't know. Didn't you interview somebody from the Rip City Remix that's in the front office?
Pooh Jetter, I think, is the assistant GM.
Pooh Jetter is the assistant GM.
Yeah, I forget who the official GM is. And maybe I'll have to double check that. I don't think he.
Yeah.
I think he's the assistant, but if he is the actual GM, apologies.
Did he play in Summer League? Did I see Pooh out there? Did he play?
This year?
Yeah, did he play?
No, he's done.
He's done? Okay. I thought maybe I dreamt that. Well, hey, Pooh, we need to get a and maybe that's Devontae Graham, but we need a point guard to run this Rip City Remix team. Just a floor general. Do like what the Spurs are doing with Chris Paul. Bring that version to Rip City Remix. We do that, there's a G League title waiting for us with our name on it. That's all we need. So who do I got to call, Connor? Who do I got to talk to? Like, I want to see that happen.
I'll send it up to the Handfruit Nation. I'm sure there's like a chain of command.
Yeah, come on, Handfruit. All right, so I'm excited about Klingon too. We'll see how he does this year. Obviously, he's a rookie. He's going to have his struggles like every rookie does. But I've said this, he kept his fouls down in summer league. So if he can get into the NBA and keep his fouls down while still being super aggressive, trying to block shots, I think that we just need and stay healthy. Like, stay healthy, please. Healthy. I'll say it one more time. Stay healthy. If we can see that happen from Klingon this year, that's a win, man. And then the most odds at the number one pick. That's what we want. Most ping pong balls. So let's get that done.
For everybody calling it such a down year in the draft this year, if we get somebody who is like can contribute to defense like Klingon appears he's going to be able to, getting towards that like all defensive caliber type player, like that's a enormous win. Huge. And he's his attitude. I love all of his attitude in all the interviews. He just seems so intense and like he kept saying he's a winner. And I saw somebody tweet like, "Get ready to learn losing, buddy." And I was like, "Yeah, dude, like that winning stuff. That winning stuff is gonna go away quickly." Like, and he kept saying it in every interview, like, "I'm a winner." And I was like, "Dang, dude, do you realize what's about to happen?"
Well, see,
but that's great. That's a great sign, and I buy it too. Sometimes people say that I don't really like. You feel like it's kind of talk or whatever. Like, I think he's genuinely just really wants to improve, and you can tell his work ethic. He was beating himself up after the first summer league game.
Oh, sure.
And like just from that, you could tell that like, oh, this guy. Yeah. He's kind of fanatical about this a little bit.
Well, you win 2 back-to-back title NCAA championships. You're gonna have that in you, right? You just want to win.
Yeah. And he won in high school. He might have won 2 in high school, his junior. I know he won his senior year, but so he's won like 3 or 4 straight championships.
Oh man. Well, so then, dude, there's an easy solution here. Send him to Rip City Remix. Let Klingon lead. What are we thinking?
No.
G League title. He's still a winner.
Are you saying to put all our chips in on a Rip City Remix title this year over the actual
Connor. Connor, we're trying to establish culture here with our young guys. So send them down. Let them get the dub there, and then
we'll add it to the Summer League titles.
Yeah, we raise the banner right there. Summer League title and G League title. Okay, so the Summer Olympics, right, is going on right now. We have one player, kind of 1.5. You had brought up at half a player that the Blazers have. But Duop Reith, I think, has scored 2 points so far through 2 games with Australia. He is 1 for 1 from the field, so he hasn't missed a shot in the Olympic basketball. But Australia is 1-1 right now. I think Duop. We haven't seen the end of Duop Reith in the Olympics. I think he is. There will be a game where he will come in and score like 15 points, 5 for 5 from three, and be the reason they win a game. Or
I could
maybe
see that microwave score, yeah, or the flip side, or 0 of 5,
no,
0
Connor.
points. No, I love Duop. Uh, but yeah, man, if he gets in the game, he's gonna shoot. So
Yeah,
yeah, I could definitely see down the line maybe that would be pretty cool to see. Like,
yeah,
I'm not saying I want the U.S. to get upset, but it would be pretty cool to see Duop Reed like
yeah.
drop 20 on the U.S. or something
That
like
would
that,
be
because he
that'd
he
be
gets
cool.
hot. He can do it.
He can. We've seen these games, man. He just starts popping out there, and and he can get to the rim, and he finishes well. I mean, he's probably a better finisher than like Nurkic ever was. At the rim. I mean, Dewap can. He lays it up, he dunks, and Nurk kind of who knows where that ball would go half the time when he was at the rim.
Speaking of Duop, though, actually, because after Klingon got drafted, everybody was like, "What's going to happen with DeAndre Ayton? What's going to happen with Ayton?" And of course, there was that article that came out that Ayton was cool with it, and it sounds like, for sure Aiden's going to start, and Klingon will be in the backup spot, which makes sense for a rookie center. But
Yeah.
I totally forgot. I wasn't even thinking about Duop Reith in that mix, because then you look at the center rotation, and it's like, how are they going to find minutes for Aiden, Robert Williams, who's getting healthy, and Klingon? And for a while, I didn't even think about Reith. So we have 4 centers who could all get minutes or have all been in rotations. And
Yep.
I'm really curious to see what they do with Duop next year, and if he kind of ends up being that guy who's cast aside a little bit.
You think Dewap will get passed aside between the other 3?
Maybe. I'm not for sure, but I mean, they're gonna play Aiden and Klingon, and then we'll see what Robert Williams' health is like. I mean, I think at least in the beginning, the days of Duop Reith starting and playing 25 minutes a game are probably gone, which is a little sad sad and good.
It is sad and good. I do like some Reith games. What were you like a Transformers kid or maybe adult? Were like the Transformers,
no.
like the Autobots one? Well, actually,
I know what they are.
You know what they are. No,
yeah,
actually,
I saw the Shia LaBeouf movie. That's kind of the extent of my knowledge.
Okay. I'm gonna not Transformers. I'm thinking you didn't watch this, but the old school Power Rangers. They would.
I watched.
You watched Power Rangers?
That was my stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I shouldn't have assumed. The Power Rangers, they'd come together, right, to form the big robot that would fight the enlarged bad guy that
Maybe I didn't watch it.
Okay.
I get your picture now. Yeah.
Well, so Rita was the bad person, right, in the old one. And so Rita would enlarge the creature, and then the Power Rangers would then form the big Power Ranger. I forget what it's called. I'm going to get roasted in the comments now. The big robot. Well, we need that at the center position, because if you could just combine Duop, Ayton, Rob, and Klingon into one center, I mean, do we have is that who is that? Is that
That's something?
Wilt?
I mean, yeah,
is
you
that
get
Chamberlain?
The defense, the athleticism, the shooting. It would be the perfect.
Yeah.
It would be. That is interesting that all of our centers, we have a lot of them, but they all kind of specialize in different things. So
they do. We just need that.
That is an interesting point.
Can we do that, please? Well, and we won't have to worry. And this is how the logjam gets solved, right? It's Ayton probably plays the majority of the minutes. Rob, and I'm not wishing this, but they probably could get hurt because he's injury prone. Could get hurt.
Yeah.
Duwop plays backup, and Klingon's on the G League team, leading them to a title. So that is how we solve the logjam at center. But we'll see. I want Rob to play 10 games. I want them to play heavy minutes, 35 minutes a game, where his stats are 15 points, 13 rebounds, 6 blocks, that kind of stat line, Connor, and then shut him down. Just shut him down. Tell him to go home, and then trade him. And get a first-round pick. That's what we have to do.
I think that honestly is the dream. That's the dream scenario. I think they're ready to trade him as soon as his value is back to somewhat decent.
And it's not because I don't think he's good. I genuinely think he's good, but Portland can't. Centers don't stay healthy unless they're like an Ayton who's like very athletic, or we'll see what Klingon does. Rob is not that way. So Rob will get hurt in the Pacific Northwest. That's just how it's in the air. I don't know how else to explain it. So I love him.
Yeah, and there really is just like there's no need for him anymore right now with
No.
Klingon.
Yeah.
Like
Never.
it's just there's too many. We always have positional overlaps, it seems like.
Always. Okay, quick thoughts. I asked you to do a ranking for me. This will be our last segment before we roll here. Is you have to rank from most likely. No, I'm sorry. I'm going to rephrase. Who gets first? Who gets this first to last? Like who's this going to happen to first?
Okay, all right.
Who gets traded first? But you have to rank them though, so I need 1 through 4.
Okay.
Anthony Simons, Robert Williams, DeAndre Ayton, or Jeremy Grant. Those 4, give me rank, and actually go from the bottom. Who is the least likely to get traded first of that group? Rob, Grant, Ayton, Simons. Those 4.
I'm torn, to be honest, because I could see. I think Williams is the least. So I'll put him as least likely right now.
Okay.
Because I think they'll, at the very least, keep him until the trade deadline.
Okay. All right.
Until he plays a little bit. Okay. I think. Okay, I'm gonna say. Man, Grant, Simons, Williams, and who?
Grant, Simons, Williams, Ayton. DeAndre Ayton is in
Oh,
this group.
Ayton.
Ayton's in the group. So Ayton.
I take it back. No. Ayton, least likely.
Least likely. Okay. All right. Okay.
If that happens, I think that'll for sure be next season.
Okay. All right. That's next season. So Ayton's your least likely.
Ayton's least likely.
Okay.
Then I'll go Williams. And now it gets interesting because I think Simons is clearly hinting that he wants to leave because he said that he wants to win. Yeah. And we aren't going to win for a while longer. And we have all the guards. So, it makes sense for him to leave. And I think right now his value is better because he has 2 years left on his deal.
Okay.
But I think it's harder to move him.
Oh.
And then Jeremy Grant, who I think they're less inclined to move or not as urgent to move or yeah, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, the sense of urgency isn't. Yeah. Yeah. They're waiting for a good deal.
He has, I would think, a better market. Like you keep hearing all this Lakers stuff. So between those two, I mean, I think I'm going to say, I'm going to go Grant and then Simons. So I think,
okay.
Yeah, I'm going to say Simons is most likely to be traded. Okay. You know what? No. Final answer. This is probably terrible for podcasting.
No, it's fine. We get to see how your brain works
Simons
here.
And Grant is most likely to be traded, just because I feel like I said, teams are more willing in wanting to get a player like Grant, who's a two-way forward who can shoot threes and he's a veteran. Yeah. Than they are usually wanting to get a small. Even though I think Simons is really good, a small guard. Yeah. The options are less obvious for Simons, I think, and the return is less obvious.
Sure.
But I keep, you keep hearing some of it seems like, trade talk, smoke and stuff, but you keep hearing about this Lakers thing. Zach Lowe the other day said, can I get a Jeremy Grant Lakers jersey like that? And he said it kind of jokingly, but I don't know. When I start to hear all that type of stuff, I do wonder if I think the Blazers and Lakers, if the Lakers will give in and give up 2 first-round picks for him by the end of the summer.
I bet. I think that's going to happen. I think
everybody's gone. Every option is gone besides that, basically, to get a high-impact player. They missed all their free agents, and they haven't done anything.
They haven't done anything, which is exactly what Cronin was hoping. I think Joe was like, I'm just going to wait this out because their Lakers are going to stumble into a bad. And, man, give us those draft picks. Those Laker picks, man, they're going to be gold in 2 years. Come on. What Like they don't got anything coming down the pike, right? So it's like let's get those picks. We want them. So yeah, Grant, man, Connor, it's just like frustrating because I feel like this happens most years with us with the Blazers is we just get like all of our players get taken because they're valuable, right? And then all of a sudden they're like on playoff teams and stuff. When it's like, what the heck? Like they were on the same team with us and we were bad because it's all.
Are you thinking about Derek Jones right now?
Dude, oh my gosh,
go
like
through your
jeez,
mind?
Derek Jones like that, like all of a sudden it's like Larry Nance, like he wasn't like this big playoff contributor, but it was like, oh, he's a key piece on the Pelicans or now, wherever he is, Atlanta now. And it's just always like these guys are just like on other teams and it's like, man, like what went wrong? And it's the problem is, besides Dame, which and he got hurt towards the end there with us those last 2 seasons, but like we never had that like superstar pairing with Dame. So like if our role players, let's say we didn't trade anybody, but all of a sudden like Scoot becomes like the best point guard in the NBA and then Tumani becomes like Scottie Pippen, don't trade anybody and we'll probably win the title this year. Like that's all that has to happen, Connor. That's all that has to happen is Scoot.
We just need Tumani to become Scottie Pippen.
Tumani becomes Scottie and Shaden, we'll say Shaden, not Scoot. We'll say Shaden becomes Jordan. And then we have all these role players around these guys. Dude, that's multiple titles. 4 in a row right there. So don't trade anybody.
That would be the dream. That would definitely be the dream.
Yeah. But this happens every year, Connor. Our people just get I did a podcast leading into the playoffs, and I have to go back, where I listed all of the ex-Blazers within like a certain time period, right? It was like if they had been a Blazer within the last like 3 seasons, how many were in the playoffs? It was like 11. Like it was so many players. Like the Suns had 2.
What's interesting is I am like the ones I think of are like the flip side of that. Because I always think about those Aminu and Harkless teams because that was that was in high school when they first made it to the playoffs. Like that was my first kind of real go with a team. And they always said like Dame needs more help. And then when Harkless and Aminu left, like their careers basically just ended.
Yeah.
And like Evan Turner left and his career basically just ended. Like so I think of those guys.
Alan Crabb, his career.
Yeah,
ended.
Like I think of some of those guys.
Yeah.
Where it kind of in my mind made it very clear that we did not do a good job of the Blazers did not do a good job of getting Dame help because
it's weak.
We're a fan site. They didn't. Yeah, that just makes it clear to me that like Neil Olshey didn't do the best job of getting proper help. Just when you see what happened to all those guys.
And I think you could have looked like that Blazers unit, the way it was built. Like you could look at what Golden State became, and now I'm not trying to say like Curry and Dame are the same, but I mean they were closer than people give it credit for. People would think that's blasphemy.
I agree, yeah.
But truly,
for sure.
So then you pair Curry with a defensive guard that can also shoot threes. Well, like Klay Thompson. Well, CJ wasn't that. And then we needed like a Draymond type guy that could like do all the dirty job and play defense, and we didn't have that either. And I feel like Neil could have looked at that and been like, I'm going to do everything I can to try to build a team similar to that, and we just didn't do it. And we wanted it. Like CJ and Dame, it would have been so fun to win a title with the two of them together. Like that, they were awesome, and they were like guys from not major programs in college, and that's like the Portland story, right? Like these underdog kind of guys.
Oh yeah, I think I stuck it out longer than most fans with that team because I just thought like the story would have been so good.
Mm-hmm.
It took Damian Lillard requesting he had to break up with me.
Yeah.
Like I would have kept trying and just rooting for them and being like, maybe this is the year. If Kent Bazemore plays better than if he played how he did in Atlanta for like a month,
like a month,
he's the piece, and
he's the missing piece.
It was all these.
I know.
All these different. It was like a rotating cast of characters of like maybe this guy could pop up. Now Danny Avdija, how do you pronounce his name?
Advia. Advia?
Obvia, gosh, yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's okay.
I think as far as like there was the joke about Neil O'Shea that he always like, well, not a joke, it just was a pattern. He would get uh, former lottery picks and like reclamation projects and be like
Yeah.
who were young but like didn't tap into their potential yet.
Yeah, Thomas Robinson. You remember T Rob? Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
exactly. All
Yeah.
the like, um, I mean, Emmanuel Mudiay was on the summer league team. That was a
Oh
bad
yeah.
example, but there was like
Yeah.
five of them, and I'm blanking now, of course. But even well, never mind. Mo Harkless was a first round pick. Anyway, Denny is like the dream scenario of that right now. Where like I think this he's already tapped into we've got him. He's not a reclamation project. He's tapped into some of that potential already, and I think he could be like he just is a much surer bet than a lot of those other guys we would bring in as supporting cast
Well,
throughout the years with Dame.
yeah, and I think he's getting better. He knows his role. Like he's in my opinion, when we haven't seen him play a minute yet for the Blazers, but I mean he's already better than like Aminu and Mo and Harkless was. I mean, in my opinion, I think
Yeah, no, some people were like, is he the best forward since Batum? And like you look back and it sounds crazy because that was like 8 years ago or whatever, 9 years ago, maybe 10. Wow.
yeah.
But if you go through the numbers, like in all the names, I think he is like
Yeah. I think he
the
is.
closest is like Rodney Hood, maybe
Yeah.
when he was like in one playoff series
In
and then he
one
got hurt.
in one game. Yeah, one game.
Mm-hmm.
I will go back and watch that 4 overtime game every once in a while. I was like, oh, the good
Oh
times.
yeah, I like that. That's my favorite game. I like that better than Game 7 for sure.
Yeah. The game 7 was good though. But yeah, the Hood game, especially because it was at home too. That's always fun.
That yeah, I've said that's the most exciting game.
Yeah. Well, Connor, we're gonna have more of those coming up soon. Maybe not this season. Maybe not this season, unless Sharp becomes Jordan and Tumani becomes Pippen. But if probably unlikely. So let's get Cooper Flag and then let the dynasty begin. So
let's win the remix title, and then let's go get Cooper Flag, and then let's win the big NBA,
the big
Larry
real
O'Brien.
one. Yeah, we have to keep clinging winning. So let's get the Summer League one, and then we'll get the NBA title. Conor Bergin, we're so happy you come on. I'm excited your role is going to expand a little bit with Blazers Edge moving into this season. So people will get to see you more, read you more. You will not always follow Adrian on the podcast here. We're going to mix it up a little bit. So
hey, if you ever want to do a triple, a triple feature, me, you, and Adrian, I'm game for that.
We need to do that. We need to line that up. Yeah, I mean, I've gotten in a good rhythm scheduling Adrian, even though he's in Australia. So it gets a little, but we have good times we can record. So, and nice. I think it can work with you. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, Connor, thanks for coming on, man. Have a good rest of your summer. And the next time we talk, I think let's get you back on right maybe when preseason is starting. Something like that.
All right, yeah.
So
sounds good to me.
We'll let you take a vacation.
I'll have more opinions and stuff to talk about probably then, so that'll be good.
Perfect. I love it, man. All right, dude. Well, thanks for coming on.
So long.
See ya.